So, the Necromancer was announced as a new hero in Diablo 3. And you're going to have to pay for it as well through DLC. So we've got quite a lot to go over. So first of all, it's going to be coming in male and female as you would expect. The visual design of the character is a throwback to the original Diablo 2 Necromancer. It hasn't changed a whole lot, unlike the Barbarian, which did age quite a lot. Now within the Q&A and announcement, they showed off some of the alternative designs that the Necromancer could have possibly turned out to be, but ended up staying true to the nostalgic feeling of D2. Let's go over some of the skills really quickly. They've got the old classic corpse explosion, which is fantastic. I think a lot of fans are going to be super happy about that. Bone Spear, which is one of my favorite skills in D2. Just the mechanic of it is fantastic. Siphon Blood. This is a brand new skill. Blood Rush, which is essentially the mobility skill that every hero has. This is really the Diablo 3-ified version of the Necromancer when it comes to skills. And lastly, Summon Skeletons. Now, I was actually surprised at how early on in development the Necromancer is, considering how long myself and fans of Diablo have been waiting for new content and a new class. Now, during the BlizzCon Diablo 3 Q&A session, they spoke about the items that he will most likely use. Now, they're leaning towards two class-specific items right now, one being the Scythe and the other one being an offhand item similar to the Wizard or the Witch Doctor. Now, someone also brought up a question during the event and said, hey, what about the Wands? That's really the iconic item for the Necromancer. It was daggers and wands. So yeah, it looks like they're going with a whole new item type, that being the Scythe. So this should be pretty interesting. I'm sure that they're going to add in some kind of wand though, just as flavor or fun. Who knows? They're still super early on in development. Now, they're also going to be including 1 to 3 class-specific sets on the launch. That's what they're aiming for at the moment. So this means a whole brand new set that you can get your hands on. It'll be interesting to see what effects they actually have and how they change the gameplay. Let's talk about the whole DLC thing, okay? So I'm just going to be straightforward with you all. You know, we've all been waiting for something big, and we were expecting it to happen at this year's BlizzCon. Now, so many awesome features were added to the game, although it does still feel a little bit unpolished when it comes to Diablo. You know, these guys are known for making big, extravagant, you know, over-the-top cinematics, lores, boss fights, and everything. I was actually really surprised that just the amount of content and type of content is fairly decent, but it just feels like something's not quite right there, for me personally anyway. Now, one of the biggest shifts in Diablo 3, and in my opinion, the most important thing that was overlooked during this whole entire event, is Blizzard's change up of a business model. When we look at other games, you know, Heroes of the Storm, Overwatch, they have a healthy economy of, you know, buying things in game and a compelling reason to do that. Diablo 3's never had that since the auction house got removed. It did have to rely on selling new expansions. This is a huge shift. I get a feeling this is a very unpopular opinion based on what I've read from everyone else talking on Reddit and on the forums. They're a little bit pissed off about it. They want a character for free, or they want a full expansion. Here's why it's actually important. The idea of them being able to put together a character with 1 to 3 sets, a couple of legendary items, and some new pets and cosmetics is a pretty cost-effective way of delivering new content without spending millions on new music, new art assets, huge cinematics, which take up so much of the budget when it does come to Diablo 3. There was a pretty nice joke that came up on Reddit, which I think is a realistic reflection on what we're probably going to see when purchasing the Necromancer DLC. You know, a digital deluxe Necromancer bundle. It's going to cost, you know, X amount of price, which hasn't been established yet. Includes new Necro class for Diablo 3, a skeleton mage pet for World of Warcraft, Necromancer skin for Reaper in Overwatch, and automatically unlocks some kind of other character in Heroes of the Storm. It seems to be a trending theme throughout Blizzard's bundle packs. Now, it really comes down to the price range in my opinion, but now I read a Forbes article a little while ago, and the author, who I'm not a big fan of his work, but he did put together insight, but he apparently got wind of some information that they were developing a brand new expansion. They decided to break the content up and deliver it in smaller sections. Things like the Kanai's Cube, previous new map zones that were revealed quite some time ago, and of course the 2 new maps that will be revealed, along with things like the armory and so on. This really explains the lack of communication that Blizzard have been offering the fans of the Diablo franchise, who I'm a part of. Unfortunately, haven't been playing the game as much as I would like to, because of lack of motivation and interest. So I feel like just something's not quite right when it comes to this franchise. Maybe they've been understaffed, maybe they blew out their budget, maybe Blizzard Entertainment don't want to focus too much on Diablo 3 just because of the nature of that game and its profitability to the company. You have to remember, Blizzard Entertainment doesn't have a conscience. Individual people inside of it do, and they're all fantastic and passionate people. But a corporation is different. They have budgets, deadlines, and schedules they need to run without having, sympathy and a conscience like, hey, Diablo's an iconic game. Let's really put everything into it and sprawl out for the fans. That's how the individual people must feel, but not the company itself. Now, to be a little bit personal with you guys, I hate to talk about Diablo 3's latest achievement in content and all the great things that they're bringing into the game with a slight negative undertone. It really does. As a fan of the franchise, I really don't enjoy this at all, but at the same time, I've always kept my content and this channel neutral between what fans and gamers want to hear, as well as supporting companies as well. I've always stuck in the middle, and this sucks that I haven't been swept up and super excited about the next content. I'm just mildly looking forward to it. So just to wrap it up, this is clearly Blizzard experimenting with a new business model when it does come to Diablo 3, very similar to the StarCraft model, which I believe has been quite successful. So this means either one of two things. It's going to significantly reduce the production cost of bringing out a brand new class, as we see with the Necro, by cutting back on cinematics, music, the fact that it's downloadable content, it won't have a physical copy. A whole lot of cost is completely cut out. The other possibility is they made an expansion. Maybe it wasn't up to the Blizzard quality of standard, or maybe they just chose to individually break up the content and release it throughout the last year or so. Anyway, friends, there it is. There's a Necromancer. I'll finish up the video and just share my personal opinion. I really think that the Necromancer is going to be fantastic. It's going to be very fun to play. Personally, as someone who's very passionate about Diablo 3 but is not playing it currently, I feel like this might be 2 to 4 weeks of entertainment for someone like myself. So this does kind of suck. So Blizzard has released an official blog post about the Necromancer. I've decided to read the comments from the top down. I haven't pre-selected any comments that fulfill a narrative. I'm just going to go from the top and work down. So here we go. Here's DN Heart 13. He says, "Didn't see any shapeshifting here. What the hell? It's not much different from the Witch Doctor. If you could add shapeshifting like a werewolf, it would be really too great." Clownface says, "Crap content. Not released yet. Subjective opinions. Expensive? $40 for 2 weeks of gameplay building a character, a new game mode, and 2 new zones. Pretty much more content than the previous expansion." Now, first of all, I want to add on top of this and say that the price range has not been established yet. We don't know how much this is going to cost, but we do know Blizzard typically charge a premium price. Let's continue on. Diablo 2 wasn't amazing. It was slow, grindy, and pixelated. Not many want to farm cows and bail forever. Even the first vision of Diablo 3 was better than Diablo 2 on various levels. Also, if you aren't willing to support the game economically, then why would a video game production company, which is renowned for seeking to make profit from video games, bother releasing more content? Where's the incentive for them? It doesn't make any sense. No wonder the game is dying off. Cheap-ass fans. So I also want to add on top of that and say that Diablo 3 and its expansion is one of the highest selling PC games of all time. Not only that, they did profit from the auction house significantly during the first era of Diablo 3 Vanilla. A lot of money was made in the game. Trust me. Pesha goes on to say, "No new expansion for Diablo yet, another one for Hearthstone." Shows you how much Blizzard really care about this game. DN Heart 13 replied, "Yeah, it's a disappointment to know this news. Really hope for new story and expansion. ... Eisenhower comes in and says, "I can't wait. I never got into Diablo 3 like I did with Diablo 2 because I love the Necromancer." So he's obviously looking forward to the Necro, and rightfully so. The Necro is a really fun class indeed too. Let's hope it translates over, guys. Okay, Iron Jawbone goes on to say, "I'm trying to remember a more entitled, poisonous, and downright pathetic player base than those who play Diablo. All that comes to mind is League of Legends and Path of Exile. I seriously hope you people choke on your own poison." Wow. He goes on to say that the thought of the nerd rage my comment might bring brings me a wonderful smile on my face. Yeah, this guy is not a big fan of the community. We've got Monkey Marine. He says, "I'm really excited about the Necro. He was always my favorite character from the start. It didn't seem right for such a dark game full of death and destruction to do away with a character whose powers and way of life revolve around everything the game was built on. Diablo 2 did have a feel that was definitely not captured identically in Diablo 3. I'd put it more closer to Dark Souls or Lords of the Fallen in terms of mood and theme. That's my additive opinion on top of Monkey Marine's comment. Baracus777. I love Diablo and all its incarnations. However, I wish they had chosen to bring back the Druid than the Necromancer. The Druid is unique, while the Necromancer and Witch Doctor hold a lot of similarities. Shapeshifting and the whole nature spell set was so cool. Just my opinion though, glad to see Blizzard still adding content to Diablo 3. I cannot wait to travel back in time and revisit old Tristram. Alright friends, I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for joining me as always. My name is Elvis, this is Friend and Machine. Fucking subscribe. Why not guys? Why not?